he said the United States got in contact with a down craft, but the occupants were canine looking. But he said they end up getting in contact again with another down craft of the same species. See, those were prior, they're dead. Okay.
Okay.
Because they were extremely dangerous. They had to euthanize them. And so this new craft that end up crashing, there were like 5 survivors. And that he said they were like apex predators, basically they're hunters. And they had to, because he said they were so dangerous, they had to put them in a facility outside of the United States.
Welcome back to the iJupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and this week we have on the founder of the North American Dogman Project, Mr. Joedy Cook himself, and we're going to get into his experiences, why he started it. We're going to get the information there as much as possibly can, and so that, if you run across one of these things, you have somewhere that you can actually go and not feel so weird about it. That's the most important thing. That's why I want to do this one, and I want to thank Jody for coming on. So if you keep coming back to the eye, please do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up, and that would be great. All the links for everything, my show stuff, Jody's stuff, will be in the description below. Go down there and check it out. And if you know somebody who's seen one of these things, Jody's going to give me some links, and they'll be down there, and you can click on them and go ahead and do what you need to do to get that information out there. So with all that out of the way, let's welcome to the eye, Mr. Joedy Cook.
Hello, sir. How you doing?
Good to go, man. I'm down here in, I always tell people I'm down here in sunny Mexico. Matter of fact, I got to turn on my air conditioner, man. What about yourself? How you been?
Doing good. I'm in Ohio, and it's been raining for like a week, and I'm like, geez.
I'm from Maryland, so I kind of know we got similar weather. It's but I haven't lived in the United States since, my Lord, 2002. I lived in Germany for 20 years and 20 years in Germany, and now I'm down here in Mexico. And I'm happy to be back on this side of the planet, to be completely honest with you.
yeah. You're different.
Yeah, I'm a different kind of dude, a former military guy. Just living my life down here, doing something I love to do, and talking to people like yourself. I was talking to Al Santoriga. He got me in contact with, I can't remember her name, and she got me in contact with you. And I was just like, okay, sure, I'd love to talk to him. Jody, for people who do not know who you are and what it is that you do, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Joedy Cook. I'm the founder of the North American Dogman Project. We started back in 2006. About 2016 is actually when we created our website and went online with everything. Been very interested in the dogman phenomenon for quite some time. Prior to all this, I was a UFO investigator for years, and we had back in the 80s, we had a TV show that we did on public access TV. Okay, this was like way before cable.
Yeah, man, I remember those days.
Yeah, it was a live show that we did first Wednesday of every month, and we're getting all kinds of UFO reports in. Then we were starting to get some cryptid stuff in, Bigfoot, things like that. And myself and George Clapperson, who's now deceased, decided to take the Bigfoot stuff and kind of fell into it. Really loved it, really enjoyed it. Spent more time there than I actually should. But the Bigfoot field has got so political, and so much like a clique and stuff. And it was just, I had enough of it. And I heard about this new cryptid called Dogman, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And ever since then, man, I fell in love with it.
It's so strange to fall in love with something that, from all accounts, from what I heard, is so terrifying in many aspects. You know, and I do understand the falling in love with something is falling in love with the mystery of it. Like,
Yeah,
what is it?
the
Yeah,
thing about Dogman compared to Bigfoot and some of the other cryptids, it's like you know this is the thing that goes bump in the night, but it bites. You know,
yeah.
I mean that's best way. That's the best way to describe this. You know.
People describe it in many different ways too. I've heard them where they look like hyenas. I've heard them where
Mhm.
they kind of look like a wolf. I've even
Yeah.
heard it where they look like a bulldog with blue eyes. If you or many, some that kind of are kind of translucent.
Mhm.
Some that are partially translucent.
There's a
Some,
big,
yeah,
one thing
please,
that we found out, there's a um, flesh and blood aspect. There's a supernatural, and there's a extraterrestrial aspect of Dogman, which is really interesting. And we get reports from all of it, And right now, I can say between the flesh and blood part and the supernatural, it's almost right there with each other, you know. So
I,
there's
I would
a
I
lot
would
to
love to
it.
hear the yeah, I would love to hear the UFO aspect of it. I don't think I've been brought up to speed on that.
Yeah, we got a couple reports of a canine species of um, an alien, which is kind of like a canine. Okay,
Oh, okay.
and um, excuse me, I was at a conference, and there was a gentleman that was there at the bar. We were all there. There, the hotel had a restaurant and bar there, so we all went out there afterwards. And I went up to the bar to get a drink, and the guy was sitting at the bar. He was military. The thing about people in the military, you can tell someone who's military. Okay, just
Yeah.
by either the tattoo, the way his hair is, just the way he keeps himself, you can tell military from. And I knew he was military, and he sat there and asked me, he goes, what were they having going on at the hotel here? And I said, it was a paranormal conference, but it dealt with a lot of other things, cryptids and stuff. And cryptids and Bigfoot, Dogman, just other type of cryptids. Said, are you a ghost hunter? I go, no, I do investigation on Bigfoot and Dogman. And he goes, Dogman. And he's like looking at me, and I
Uh-huh.
know, I mean, just by looking at him, I know he heard that name before.
Right.
And we're just sitting there talking. And I end up sitting there talking with him. And for like a half hour, we were just, you know, BSing about, our military history and all this stuff, because I got home like a few years prior from Iraq. And we were just sitting there, just BSing about it. And then he goes, I'll tell you something because I think you'll understand. He goes, I'm prior military, and he said that I'm with a special unit, and our job is to recover UFOs. That's what we do. Okay, and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's drinking, and
Yeah. Feeding
he's
you a
trying.
nice little line there, spinning a
Yeah, a
web.
little line there. So, and he's, telling me about these different, crash sites and stuff that they recovered. And, he was saying that at one point in the early 1970s, this was prior to him, but it goes back to what he is doing today. He said the United States got in contact with a down craft, but the occupants were canine looking. Okay. He said they were very, very wolf looking. They had like a type of a body armor that they wore, no helmet, like no boots or anything. The hands were showing. It was just some type of like a body armor. And that's the first contact we had. Now I'll jump back to that part there about the 70s with this, alien species. But he said they end up getting in contact again with another down craft of the same species. See, those were prior, they're dead. Okay.
Okay.
Because they were extremely dangerous. They had to euthanize them. And so this new craft that end up crashing, um, there were like 5 survivors. And that he said they were like apex predators, basically what they're hunters. And they had to, because he said they were so dangerous, they had to put them in a facility outside of the United States in South America, which was like Honduras, is what he said. And they end up creating havoc in that facility, got out, was able to recover their weapons. They killed a lot of people that were in there, and they ended up killing a bunch of people in a village. So they had to go down and take care of the situation. So he said he described them, as extremely intelligent animals, okay, but zero common sense. Like, in combat, if you get shot at, you go to cover.
Right.
You shoot at them, they stand there. They don't know to go to cover. It was that type of thing. He said,
Got me
it's
worried
just,
when you said Honduras, man. That's not that far from me.
yeah,
I'm all the way
yeah.
down here. I'm on the Guatemalan Belize border. I'm not that, maybe 4 hours from there.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, oh god, it was a couple months ago. I mean, because I don't hear any Bigfoot sightings down here. We have other things that I hear. But recently, I think about 6 months ago, we're starting to hear what people are describing. Well, guys, this is what I saw. It's all in Spanish, and then he showed a picture of some AI photo, because this is the closest thing that I can like. I was looking for something to represent what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "That's a dog man." So
Yeah.
they're starting to be, at least maybe this weren't talked about, or maybe they used a different word, maybe naqual.
Someone I was talking with someone from El Salvador, and
Okay,
I don't know if I say it right, but it was like the El Pingüe or El Ping, but they described it as like a sloth,
okay,
which is
okay.
still kind of similar. Okay.
Yeah,
A giant ground sloth, the way they described it, large claws, very tall, you know, backward feet, which is typical of a dog,
yeah,
you
that,
know, uh,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, and I think that's what El Pengue or something like that is the way he was explaining it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out of South America when it comes to dog man. But like you said,
really.
this was in Honduras, so they had to go and they end up killing them. But like you said, he told describe how they had body armor and so forth. So I'm doing some research on this because I'm talking to other UFO investigators. Have you ever heard of a canine species of um, uh,
Yeah,
alien?
yeah, alien. Yeah, yeah.
And no one's like, no, we've never heard anything like that. Um,
That's interesting.
and then I talked to Linda Godfrey, and I asked Linda, I said,
Wow.
have you heard anything like this? And she goes, Jody, I'm going to tell you something. A year ago, I talked with a gentleman, and he gave me the same exact story.
Maybe it's the same guy.
No, it wasn't the same
It
guy.
wasn't. Okay.
No, no. Yeah, the guy was totally different. The age different was different.
Oh, okay.
This guy I talked to was pretty young. The guy that she talked to was much older. He was higher ranking. This
Mhm.
guy was, lower ranking and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of the same story. So I thought that was kind of odd. So, I'm at a bookstore, okay, and I'm looking at all these books that are, half price and stuff, and I see this one on Star Wars. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of neat. So I'm going through it, and so there's a picture of an alien that's a canine wearing body armor with no helmet, no gloves, no feet. Okay, I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Okay, Now this you know is represented one of the aliens that was in the bar in the original Star Wars. There's two werewolves that were in that bar.
You mean in the scene where they're this
Yeah,
scene?
yeah.
Okay.
There's two werewolves in there, and
My
so
God.
I'm doing some research, and Dave Baker was the one that did the costumes that for the werewolves, and I emailed him and I asked him, were these just props that you did just to have extra props?
Right, right,
And,
right.
and he's like, no, he was told specifically by George Lucas to make these two aliens werewolves.
That is really interesting.
Okay. So here's the thing. So I'm doing some research on George Lucas. Okay.
Okay.
Now, George Lucas is a Mason. Okay.
Hey.
So, okay. So
Okay.
he went to NASA because he had friends who were Masons at NASA.
Okay.
And everybody knows this. He went to NASA to get information for the movie Star Wars. Now, the rumor is that he was able to see things that people with security clearance at NASA was never able to see.
Yeah, but
Okay.
why?
Now, for years, there was a photo that was been floating around the internet, and it's no longer there for some reason, of a ship sitting in a crater that's very similar to the Millennium Falcon. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you guys can Google this tonight, and this is interesting. There's a guy by the name of, oh God, what's his name? I can't remember, but he did a book called Dark Mission. Richard Hoagland. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you Google Dark Mission robot head, now there's a picture in that book, okay, from NASA of an alleged crash on the moon, and there was a robot body. The robot's head is CP30. I am not kidding you, except it has like red lips. So if you Google that, Dark Mission robot head on the moon.
So you're saying they're doing like some type of predictive programming kind of situation through Star Wars about what these things are? That's incredible.
No,
I mean, possible.
George Lucas had to see this stuff, and that's where he's getting
Yeah, that's what
the
I'm saying.
Millennium Falcon. This is where he got CP30 from.
That's what I'm saying, Jody. What I'm saying is that for him to get the permission to be able to show that, there's some type of higher up. I'm a big conspiratorial.
Right.
Some higher up saying, we want you to put that out there.
But here's the thing. None of this stuff came to light into the 2000s after Lucas sold it to Disney.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting. Okay.
Nice big thread there to pull on.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So we know that, in Disney, there was a Jedi that was a werewolf.
Okay.
Like a dog man. Okay. And we know that there was a species that fought alongside the rebellion against the
Empire. Yeah.
That was a dog man
species.
Werewolf type species. So I mean it's really neat. And what I'll do is I don't know if you want to edit some pictures in. I'll send some pictures to you that you can kind of throw in there.
Okay.
To show what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's like, I went down that rabbit hole, man.
I loved it. I love it so much. I was just like, now, because I know, like, being a comic, I've done stand-up, and there's a lot of people who love to reference the Star Wars canteen, but I never, ever, even considered them being like aliens. And that would kind of also, because and you said that they're a new cryptid, but what, I guess maybe, in what sense are they new? because you can maybe also think of Anubis would be just like the first thing that pops into my head that has that
Right.
kind of
Well,
look to it.
they're not kind of a new cryptid. If you look at ancient history, especially the Vikings talked about fighting men with dog heads. Um, the Greeks talked about fighting men with dog heads. Um, uh, Hell, when I was in Iraq, I was talking to one of the interpreters there. He was telling us um, there, when it was Babylon, that there was a tribe of dog-headed men that lived in the mountains that came down and did trading. They could understand us, but we couldn't understand them. But there was no fighting between them. It's just they would come down and barter, and that was it. And they went back up to the mountains.
I've never
So
heard that. I
yeah,
mean, I've heard it from Native Americans talking about Bigfoot, where they speak even like native old languages and things like that,
right.
where they
The
barter.
Native Americans, they say Bigfoot is that he's an Indian.
Yeah. That's
They
exactly what
won't
they say.
say, they won't say he's a monster or anything like that. They say he's one of them. He's a native. That's their own
Yeah,
tribe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're so good, dude. Like, people starting to call me the Bigfoot guy, which I just like everything. Like the last two ones have been
Mhm.
consciousness and waking up and all that too, because I like all that too. But you got me so into. So, have you ever experienced the Dogman yourself?
Yeah, I had a sighting. We did a conference in Moorhead, Kentucky,
Okay,
which is a really wicked place. I mean, you know, um, NASA put a telescope down there. There was a ledge, UFO crash there. Some guy's got a camera where the site allegedly happened that runs like 24 hours a day so he can monitor it.
okay,
People have come up missing, gone for like 3 years, and they would come back. There was one woman where she was walking out of a bank, and the video camera inside the bank sees her walking out, but the video camera outside doesn't see her come out. And she was missing, for like a year. And there was a guy that was, doing some roofing work, and he said this woman was running down the street screaming, and she kind of like ran into the woods that was there, and he kind of like was watching what's going on, and he said all of a sudden this light came from the sky and came down right on her. I mean, there's some crazy stuff, that happens there. So Daniel National Forest is there. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So
I think Tony Merkel did a whole
yeah,
thing with a gentleman from there. And I think of his
uh,
name, but his hunting dog got tore up. Something terrible.
yeah,
I can't remember the man's name, but yeah, it was like one of his hunting dogs got tore up really really bad.
yeah.
So
We
yeah, that's
we
yeah.
Yeah, we ended up going up to Daniel Boone National Forest. Okay, and there's like three trails. You got a lower, middle, and a higher. Okay, so we were like on the middle trail, and we were like maybe a mile and a half in. Okay, and we were coming around a bend, which was kind of like a real tight bend. And as we were coming around, we had headlights and flashlights and stuff, and we caught eye shine, and it was a deer that was, you know, like the trail's going this way, and it was kind of like off to the left, but there was a bush right there. Okay, so the deer saw us, and we saw it. It kind of like jumped up like this, and like went over like this way
Oh
over
yeah,
the
yeah. They'll do that.
yeah. I mean, it was really weird, but at the same time, this dog man, you saw it grab it like this, one arm grabbed it, went like right into the arm of that dog man. We saw the long arm, we saw the long fingers, we saw the snout, the high pointed ears, the eye shine, and it just walked off, and you heard this screech from the
Jeez.
deer. And it was like, we're not going any further because we had people that were with it that brought their kids. And it's
Yeah.
like, this is like way too dangerous. So we ended up going back. But yeah, it
It's a
was
sight to behold. It's gnarly, isn't it, man? It's a gnarly thing, dude. I
mhm.
had a guy
It's
on.
an apex predator.
Man. I had a guy on from. He's from New Jersey, and his wife got grabbed by one.
Mhm.
They were he's seen it, scared the hell out of him, and he ended up going back at night on this road, and they were there at 1 a.m. drinking coffee, just kind of looking around. And then she goes, I have to go to the bathroom. She gets out to go to the rear quarter panel. Next thing you know, she's screaming and hollering. He comes out the door. This thing is dragging her down the road. Hits it, I think he said 4 times with a 44. He said the last time it actually kind of jolted a little bit, let go, and just like you reminded me of it, Jody, because he said it went screaming and crashing up through the woods. And I still haven't been able to get her to come on the show. And she's like, I want to, but I don't know how to. So when you say that you see it, grab it, when you see that arm, and oh my God, dude, I can picture it. It's not from the horror movies. It's just from the accounts that I've been getting.
Yeah.
And some of the pictures, they're not as, there doesn't seem to be as many photographs of them as Bigfoot. But the ones you do see, especially with those ears, man, that it is a
Have you been on our website?
I have not.
We've got some really credible stuff on our website, pictures.
Well, go ahead and tell people where the dog, because go ahead and tell us about since we're there, man,
Yeah.
Since we're in Rome, let's take the tour.
Yeah, www.northamericandogmanproject.com. And we got some really incredible pictures from a thermal imaging from Lane Between the Lakes that a couple took. And they sent us the video, and we were able to enlarge it and stabilize it and clean it up. And there's a dog man there, and in the video you can see this dog man kind of like moving back and forth the trees, watching them. Okay, but it has something that it's carrying. Okay, so we were, like I said, we were able to stabilize the film, blow it up, clean it up, and it's holding a younger dog man.
Okay.
And it's like, like when you have your kids standing in front of you and you grab your arms, you pick your kids up, and your kids like tuck their knees in.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This is what this was doing. And you can see it really clear in the photographs that's on our website. And Sibelius Irving did a beautiful artwork of what it looks like. Because I sent her the picture. I said, look, I'm not telling you anything about it. She's a cryptid artist, and she's really good. And
okay,
I'm going to
go ahead and, if it's okay, Jody, if it's okay, Joe, I don't mean to be rude. I'm going to pull up the actual the website real quick, and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
Let's see, share screen, evidence. I want under evidence. I guess that would be
it's right on the front page.
Right on the front page under home.
Yeah. So go ahead and scroll down. Now stop right here a minute. D.
Sure.
The woman I was telling you about. This is her encounter of a dog man, and this is here in Ohio. So I want to get you in contact with her.
Sure.
Because she's got some really good stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you can see it's grinning at her. And she goes out by herself. I'm not kidding. She's got balls of steel, man.
I don't know why she's even outlining it there. It's completely unnecessary. It's easy to see.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, and that's her dogs. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what is this?
This is a kill that was in Pennsylvania. People thought it might have been a dog man. So no one really knows what it is.
What exactly that is, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. This is another Ohio dogman sighting. Okay. Here's the LBL. Now, if you right there.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Horribly fantastic. Because when we say fantastic, it's still scary, but you can see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see the large black eyes. You can see the high pointed ears. You can see the smaller one. You can see the shape of the head. You can see the snout. And you can see how the legs are brought up. Now, what's odd about this, that this particular dog man, because of how the legs bend forward, like human, This is what we would call like a type 3,
Okay.
which is
So,
have like the human style legs.
okay, guys, that's the www. Type everything in NorthAmericanDogmanProject.com. There's also a place there where you can where you can make contact if you've had a sighting. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can. There's an email right there that says NADP
Hotmail.
questions
At
at
Hotmail right here, guys.
hotmail.com. Yeah.
Perfect. If you have any questions, go on over there and talk to somebody who may know a little bit. And remember, Dan, guys, that these things, well, of course, it's going to be hidden, but there has been some autopsies where they're like, 40% of the muscle mass is missing.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, there's no pack of wild dogs that will eat that much.
On the website, we have autopsy reports of alleged dogman kills on there.
Okay.
So people can go up there and read them. Just go and you'll see on the top right, where you can just hit and it brings down a whole bunch of stuff like evidence.
Yeah, it says more, and there's a little side menu that comes down. Exactly.
Yeah, you'll see the autopsy reports, and you can read them.
Because it serves two purposes. Well, three purposes. It serves the purpose of number one, you've seen one of these things, and you want to reach out somewhere to have a place to go. Two, every bit of evidence that we as the human race can get to see about these things, the better. And the reason for both of those in the end is for the number one reason. It's a 3, 2, 1 countdown would be safety, because these things, you hear a lot of things of where they can be very aggressive. And they can be very cunning and very overwhelming.
We got some reports of telepathy with people, but there were females, and that was kind of the odd thing, where females were jogging down a trail. They saw one, and it said, "I'm not going to hurt you. Just keep moving." We got a couple reports like that.
That is so scary.
Where they just would communicate with them, just keep going, ignore it. Well, I'm not going to hurt you. They're very minimal that we get, but we do get them.
I've heard of it. Now I've heard of it. I know that they call it in the Sasquatch area, they call it mind speak, but I have heard that dogmen will do that too.
Correct.
I remember who told me. I think it was a man who told me that he's had it before, but I can't quite. It's been a long time. It might have been Scott Pace. I got to get him back on and talk to him again.
But something that's really wild too.
What's that, Jody?
We've gotten a few reports where people were in cemeteries, visiting their loved ones, and they would see these dog-headed people where they were wearing cloaks, walking around the cemetery.
Cloaks.
Yeah.
You mean like a hooded cloak? Okay, that's the interesting thing too. I've been hearing a lot about that because we know that the LBL is full of family cemeteries, and the gentleman I was telling you about too, where his wife got drugged, that was right next to a cemetery. There's something about that too that is like it's odd. It seems that more than not they're seen close to or around a cemetery.
Bigfoot is too. And here's the thing. I can see like a regular dog man in cemeteries. Like we have a video on our website here in Ohio where one was digging in the grave. Okay. And and the people at the cemetery says this thing comes and digs the freaking graves up, and we enhanced the video, and you can it's under like evidence in our website, and you can see, the long fingers, where this thing was coming up, where it was getting ready to dig, and you can see it's digging like this. It's really wicked, but these other ones that people are seeing, like I said, they're wearing cloaks, hooded cloaks. So I'm thinking, what animal like a dog would be connected to a cemetery? And that's a hellhound. Okay.
Yes.
Hellhounds are there to protect the souls from the demons who are trying to steal them.
Okay.
I'm like thinking, man, maybe these are hellhounds. the possibility that this is what these people are seeing in different parts of the country and different cemeteries.
Is that possible, Jody, too, that maybe these are okay? I'll ask you the question then. If you have a chance, we can break down. But the you were talking about these classifications. Would that type of cloaking thing be one of the classifications that you're talking
No,
about?
no, no, not cloaking. A cloak
Right.
with a hood,
Okay.
like a medieval cloak.
Yeah. I got what
Like,
you. Oh,
oh,
okay. So
okay,
you see the snout sticking out and a thing draped over its front.
yeah,
Oh, like a
and
hooded type. That
yeah,
is
like
scary, dude.
the Lords of the Rings type
Yeah,
cloak.
I got you. I got you.
And yeah,
Yeah.
my apology. I should have
No,
clarified.
that's okay. It's okay. It's
But
probably me not understanding.
yeah, where they've seen them, and they said they were close enough to see that this was a real wolf, and each person described the cloak as being gray, and all all the different locations.
And it's been seen in a couple of locations.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta talk to these. I gotta get more people. It seems like because this is the most information I've gotten about them. The difference is, what are these categories? What are the categories you mentioned? Category 3. What are the categories?
Type 1, type 2, type 3, and canine. Okay.
Okay.
Type 1 is similar to what people think is a Bigfoot. Type 2 is pretty much similar to a dog man, but it has the characteristics of a human. Okay. Type 3 is a full blown style like Van Helsing werewolf. Okay. But its legs are very human, which
Okay.
is a very common trait for European sightings. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the canine is your typical full blown canine with the backward legs. Okay. Now, there's a picture on our website that in 1831 in Germany, I can't remember the name of the town. It started not Nuremberg, but it started with an N. The newspaper did back then. They did the wood carvings,
Okay.
with for the pictures of this werewolf that came in town. And what's so interesting about this picture is that the feet and the legs are human, but the rest of the body is like a wolf. And it's an actual picture from that newspaper that's on our website. And this is from 1831. So talking with European researchers, about Dogman, and we talk about the different types, it's like, dude, it's only one type that we've been seeing, and this is the one that's got legs like humans.
Okay. Okay. That
Yeah,
is weird.
yeah,
That is so weird.
yeah.
And so, where? I mean, there's no. I'm sure you would probably agree with me. There's no like expert in any of this kind of stuff. But like, where
No,
are we so far? Where are we? You're kind of, we're kind of punching around. Is there any type of? Is anything? Are any things starting to be tied together with what these things are, or where they're from, or any of
no.
this?
I mean, Linda Godfrey is like the mother of the Dogman field. If it wasn't for her, it would not be what it is today. And she could never figure out what a Dogman is. Her best theory was it was a canine species that evolved different from the wolf species. Okay. Now, that's a good possibility. Here is another really good possibility going back to the extraterrestrial part.
Right, right,
Okay.
right.
We had a high ranking Air Force officer approach us. Um, had all the certifications, everything like that, retirement card, all that stuff. Okay. Who he was. And he said, you know, this was before Space Force actually came out with President Trump. Okay.
Mhm.
But he said Space Force has always been around since the 80s. Okay. He says we have a fleet. Okay. We do work with other alien species. So he said one of the alien species that works very close to us told us about a certain alien species that we need to be very cautious of. Okay. Which we made contact with them. Okay. And they said, don't trust them. Okay. You can work with them, trade technology or whatever you need to do, but don't trust them. Okay. And he says, I was on their ship along with other members of the Space Force
Wow.
where they traded people to serve. Some of their people came on our stuff. Other alien species were there. They were the only human species other than like the Nordics that were there.
Nordics. Okay.
And he said they took them to a bay. And he said there's all these clones of these werewolves, like creatures for you see in the movie. Okay.
Right.
He said there were thousands of them. Okay. He said what they do, this alien species, they release these clones, and why they were werewolves is like your typical werewolf, Van Helsing or the Howling style werewolf is the way he described these things. Why would they pick that particular type of creature? Well,
Okay.
they were clones from another species. Okay, that was feared. Okay, so what they do is they release these clones onto a planet to create havoc. Okay, to destroy crops, to destroy civilizations. They come in to save the day. They
Mm.
destroy the clones. They were saviors to your species. We become friends. We trade.
Kind of like a false flag or something like this.
Yeah,
You're
it was
saying.
they're false flaggers.
Okay.
And what they do, they infiltrate themselves into the society, into their governments, to where they take over the government. Okay, just like people think
I think I know which
reptilians
one. I
done
think
to
I know
us.
which ones you're talking about. And if you do mention their name, YouTube does not like it. I
Yeah,
know exactly who you're talking about.
yeah.
They
So
just thing that happens with their eyes, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
That's
exactly. So this is that type. This is that type of species. But but he says, like you said, these canine species that they have, okay, were clones from some ancient species of predator.
some race,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So through our throughout our stuff, we heard from several different people about a canine species of an alien, and I did a conference, and Giorgio from Ancient Aliens
Oh,
was
okay,
at
yeah,
that
yeah.
conference.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh God, that guy's he's. But anyhow, I sat there and we were talking. I was telling him about these encounters, and he literally laughed. He said, there's no alien species that's a canine. I'm like, well, how do you know? What makes you an expert just because you didn't hear it? How do you know grays exist? How do we know, this alien species? We don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just like, and I sat there and I got to the point I got so mad at him. I said, dude, listen, just because a white man didn't make it doesn't mean aliens did. Okay. He got mad. He got
Yeah,
really
that was
mad.
intentional though, to make them a little bit, to get underneath the skin a bit. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like, these are the people you deal with in the UFO field. They don't want to open up their minds about anything because no one came to them. And here's the thing, I know for a fact. I talked with people in MUFON,
Okay.
okay, where people came to them about an alien species of canine who were in the military. But it's so taboo, they don't want to touch about because typical aliens, a short little thing with a big head and big black eyes. And
Yeah.
that's the alien that they want.
Yeah, but it's like there's a lot of chess pieces being moved right now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, because I think Trump just came out and was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to release the UFO files. Operation High Jump. Then there's the meeting with Eisenhower. There's so many things that are going on. I didn't know that you came from the alien world. I had no idea, Jody.
I mean, if he released the Holloman Air Base video, then I'll believe him. That's the one that Close Encounters of the Third Kind was based after. I guess it was 50s or 60s. A UFO landed on a U.S. military base, and it was filmed. And basically, they came to talk with Earth, and I guess gave demands, and one thing led to another. But everybody in the UFO field knows about that, and they talked about that.
Are you saying it's a smokescreen? That's what you're suggesting is a smokescreen still?
No, I think it actually happened.
No, I mean what is transpiring, and you're saying, well, I'll believe that it's going to happen when
that video comes available, then I'll believe that they're going to release, information about UFOs.
I don't know, man. We live in the strangest times, man. I mean, I didn't know about the. I mean, of course, I didn't know about werewolves because as a kid, but I didn't even know about Dogman until about literally 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they were like, "Oh, it's kind of like a canine, like a werewolf." And I'm like, "What?" But then they said, "But no, it's kind of like a human and this and that." I'm like, what are you talking about? Then you get into it. The next thing you know, I'm like, what is going on here? What is this place? What is this reality we live in? What exactly is Earth? Is it like an international truck stop for all this, or is it that it's much more involved than we've been led to believe in interdimensionality or energies or frequencies or whatever you want to call it?
I was watching this thing, and this scientist was basically saying it's just, in reality, humans should not exist. I mean,
I like that.
No, is what he's saying. There's just no reason for the human being species to exist. I mean, we formed into who we are. They're just, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And he was saying we had to been created. Our species had to been created. It was real technical, but I kind of made what he was saying. Yeah, it did make sense. Big Bang Theory, we should not exist.
Yeah, if you're going through the evolutionary scale, there's this big jump of like 2 million years when our brain size expanded. But I've also listened to like Terrence McKenna talking about, the stone date theory, or I've actually read the book about it. There's, where like when you take mushrooms and your visual acuity and you stand up and you see more, and that's why we stood up. And there's a lot of things that we still don't know, and we probably won't know. So before I get you up out of here, Mr. Cook, what is the mission of the North American Dogman Project, and what can people expect in the future? How can they help? Is there anything that they can do to help the people who've seen these or who are traumatized? What can we do to make it better for the people who are seeing this?
We're a non-kill organization. Our goal is to protect the species and get the species protected. We collect data to trying to put the data together to figure out the whole big picture. Okay. We work on, we have like pie charts on our website where sightings throughout the year, sightings throughout the day, sightings throughout, different parts of the season, just, basic information on how to understand how these things operate. Are they more active in summer? Are they more active at night?
Yeah, you're basically just like gathering data.
Yeah,
as much as
yeah, that's what I mean. We do go out and do investigations. Don't get us wrong.
okay.
We do the investigations, but we're trying to create a database so that will help the community and help to understand what are these things.
There also isn't it also, if I'm not mistaken, Jody, aren't these also, it's also broken down into different regions of the states?
Yeah, we're broken down to 5 regions. Um, where we each have a regional director, and then we have state representatives. So we're basically in just about every single state. We have people in Canada, we have people in Australia, we have people in Europe. We're kind of like scattered
Mexico?
all.
Got anybody in Mexico yet?
Not that I don't know. No one in Mexico. We did have one in Costa Rica,
Okay.
but they ended up moving to the States. So, and we had one in Hawaii, which there's like no sightings there in Hawaii. But
So
yeah,
I also asked this question too, with people who have been involved in whatever it is for a long time. Do you believe that the number of the creatures are increasing, or that the habitat is reducing, or that people are less afraid to come forward and talk about it? Or is the stigma just being kind of taken down bit by bit?
It's not that. How can I say this? You know how it is. It's like me talking to you. If I had a sighting, you had a sighting. Okay, it's easier for us to communicate compared to being in a group.
Yes.
Okay, so what we find out, when people talk about it, they're on a one-on-one basis, we get more information.
Right.
Just like when we're at a conference or something like that, yeah, they kind of mention about it, and they end up contacting us, and then they go a little bit more in detail. Then you have some people that just really don't want to talk about it because the sighting or the encounter just really put them into a very dark place because they can't understand.
Yeah, this is not supposed to exist. What the? Yeah,
They can't comprehend. Because here's the thing: I hate when people say that it's misidentification.
Oh yeah, awful.
Okay, and the thing of it is, all of us since we were children, since the first grade, we know what every single animal in the zoo looks like. Is it A is for apple, or A is for ape, Z is for zebra.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how we learned the language.
We learned it as kids. We know what a bear looks like. We know what a wolf looks like. We know what a gorilla looks like. We know what an elephant looks like. Okay. So this whole thing of misinformation is just a crock.
Yeah, it's very demeaning to your intelligence.
It's demeaning, and it's they're there to make you look stupid.
Yeah, but I think shows like this, there's a lot of people who like to there's a lot of shows that it's kind of like red carpety, like woo, wow, look at the dog man, and I don't like those either because that's not what it should be. If it's a species like you're saying that needs to be protected, we need to look at it that way. But I think we need to make sure the information goes out that they're protected, of course. But I always think about I'm on team human, buddy. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
You got to protect our kids and stuff, Yeah, buddy.
You do what's necessary to protect yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So I would. So, what would you suggest to people to go in the woods? Never go alone, right? No matter where you are in the woods.
Never. Yeah. God no. Don't ever go alone. Always let somebody where you're at. I tell our team, we don't want you going out by yourself. Okay, that's a big no. But if you do, you need to let people know where you're going, when you're expected back, and you need to make sure you have plenty of water, food on you, some type of communication device, extra batteries, whatever it is. Okay, to sustain yourself if you're going to be missing for a couple of days.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, but the big thing is never go out by yourself.
Yeah. And if you see something, say something. Yeah. Because we want to know. Because there's
you'll know real quick.
Yeah, if these monster basically, I mean, I'm going to say it because if we don't know what it does, the fear of not knowing makes us say words like monster.
Mhm.
So that's okay, but that's what protected us for. That's how we got to where we are today. That's how I'm talking to
Exactly.
you across the hundreds of probably 2,000 miles now, right?
Mhm.
I'm way down on the Yucatan Peninsula. That's where I'm at, you know. But that's how we got here by being a slightly overly afraid. So if you see one of these monsters out there, tell somebody because it could be your granddaughter out there, or your grandson,
Mhm.
or your child, or your mother. Tell somebody you saw something, even if it's a little weird. Come to one of these people. There's many representatives from many different states. Reach out to them,
Yeah,
and you
the
can
thing is,
confide in them. They're
we're
good
not.
people.
Yeah, we're not going to turn you away. I mean, we got some pretty incredible stories, and I mean, I'll tell you one. A guy came to us, and it's a real funny story, and he, kind of like was for like the longest time didn't want to come and tell him because he didn't think anybody was going to believe him. Okay,
Okay.
and he goes, "Listen, I drink. Okay, I."
Good way to start.
He goes, "I love to drink, but when I go hunting, I don't drink." Okay. And he goes, "I'm out hunting one day and I'm up against a tree. And here's this beautiful buck, you know, and he goes, man, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it." So he's out there. He's got his rifle on it. And the buck is just looking at him, just like cold, still looking at him.
Yeah.
And he hears something come behind him. And it comes right up next to him. And he looks up and he says, "There's this effing werewolf standing right there next to me." He said this thing was probably 7 feet. It was huge. He said it was like a dog standing there. And it looks at me, it looks at the deer. And he goes, it's like he puts his hand out towards the deer, like telling him to go shoot it.
Yeah.
So he goes, I'm looking at it. It keeps putting his hand out towards the deer. So he goes, okay, maybe he wants me to take the shot. So he took the shot and walked over, grabbed the deer, and left.
Oh my God.
You know, I'm like, he goes, I am not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. He said, this happened. So we get stories, kind of like that, where people are, they're so far off, and I really believe this guy. I
Yeah.
really believe it because why would you make up something like that? You know, and he goes, man, I'm saying because I don't go hunting. No, my wife will tell you I will not go out hunting anymore
That's what I've been
because,
trying to tell people who don't believe in Bigfoot. They're like,
but
"Oh, I don't believe in it." And I go, "Dude, you don't understand Americana, man. This is Canada and America have this trapping, hunting, fishing. It's part of
Mhm.
our culture. You have gentlemen and women who go out there, they're 20, 30, 40 years in the woods. They see one of these damn things and they never go back again. Explain to
Well,
me that. Explain that
yeah,
to me." And then I said,
yeah,
"What about statistics? Statistically
yeah.
speaking, say there's 10,000, let's say there's 1,000 ever recorded Bigfoot sightings. We know it's way more than that. We'll just
Mhm.
say it's 1,000. Is there a possibility that one of them is real out of 1,000?" And they'll go, "Yeah, well, there you go. Statistically speaking, they have to exist then."
Oh
And
yeah,
then just to give people, because you have to, when you speak to certain people, you have to speak their language. If you know what I
right.
mean?
But
And
the thing of it is, it goes back to this BS of misinformation or misidentification.
yeah,
You know, and think people know when something's out of the ordinary that doesn't make sense.
it's a
You
feeling
know,
too. Like the whole forest kind of changes. Like
Mhm.
the way they feel too. Like they're hyper frightened. To some people, they lose their breath, and they talk about like this feeling where they get sick and stuff like that. And there's words they use, but we just say there's a sick feeling that comes upon
Mhm.
them. Um, it's an experience where it's unnatural, unreal, and then some dummy, for lack of a better word, comes out with his with his little pocket watch and his He's got his little pocket protector. I'm a little older, so pocket
Yeah.
protector. And he's like, yeah, you just saw a bear. It's just, come on, man. Come on, these people are really seeing something out there. And then there's scratch marks on the trees. I have a Harley Owens is a researcher friend of mine in
Yeah.
yeah, and he has a
Yeah, I
really
know.
good picture of one. He has a
Yep.
really good picture of one where he took a snapshot of one. He's showing me footprints, and you're just like, dude, that don't look like anything. Even if you were to make that out of like a lathe and a wood stamp and a carving thing, it would take forever to make that. Just to make that if you wanted to fake it.
We have pictures of, tree scratches and things like that. Bears are different when it comes to marking territorial. One thing what we found about Dogman is that they'll literally mark the tree from the bottom going up. Okay. I mean, I'm just talking, they'll just literally rip that tree apart. And
Wow.
you can see the claw marks. Bears normally don't. Bears, when they do trade, they'll do like one set there and that's it. Okay. Dogman, he'll just go ahead and cover that tree, with his scent and with his markings. And the thing of it is, bears, there's a big difference between the bear and the Dogman, because bears, one thing what we notice in our research is, the typical length of a black bear or a grizzly, okay, is right around 7 inches. Okay.
The length of what the claw marks?
The length of the claw mark.
Okay.
Okay, is about, right around 7 inches.
Okay.
Well, we're finding out the Dogman ones are much longer. You're looking like 10, 11 inches because they're much deeper, and this is the stuff that we're finding out on the tree markings that we've got, because we know, places that we go, there's no bear, in these areas.
Yeah.
And and especially when you find all these different tree markings, you don't see squirrels, you don't see rabbits. I mean, you don't see, small prey in areas, and you hardly ever
any other fauna, like small, no fauna at all.
None whatsoever. We would go out where we would find these, tree markings and try to look for scat, from a deer or a coyote. You don't find any of that stuff. None whatsoever. And then, if it has like a creek close by, you go down there and look at the creek to see if there's any type of, impressions from, deer or raccoon or something like that. And you don't even see that. These animals, man, they're like, boom, they're away from there.
That's so strange. But it makes sense. If there's this apex predator around, they get a scent of that thing. They're like, how deer are. They're very skittish. We're out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Put up those white flags and they're out.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jody, this has been incredible, man. I really appreciate you came on and talked with me today. You've opened my eyes to a lot of cool thoughts, man. I love the thought exercises you put me through. You got me over here going like, whoa, George Lucas. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Anytime, I love all the different subjects and stuff. So
sure, I would love that. Like maybe another time in the future we can talk about your UFO findings and things like that. I love those kind of things too, man. I appreciate it, man.
Not a problem, brother.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. We are the Eye. We are aware. I love you all, and I'll catch you later.